Okay, so now we're gonna train the single arm release drills while striking a golf ball. So this is a great one to do at the driving range as part of your mechanical practice for working on how the hands are gonna transfer energy after the transition phase to impact. So it's gonna be exactly the same movements that we've trained with the ping pong paddle and either the speedball or the impact bag. But now we're using the golf club and letting the golf ball getting in the way of these movements. So we'll start with the right one. I'm gonna take my normal setup, take my left hand off the club and just kind of stick it on my side. And then we're gonna go to that delivery position that we trained in at the end of transition. And then from here, we're gonna try to feel like we throw the golf ball. And if we use that good right wrist mechanics, you can notice I'm gonna have a really clean strike and hit the ball really well. And finish pretty close to that follow-through position. Okay, so applying the same principles, we can work on the left wrist as well. So we're gonna go to that same kind of delivery position. You're gonna take your right hand off the club this time. Now it's gonna feel weaker, especially if you're right-handed and you're playing golf right-handed. And it's gonna feel very weak when I flatten this left wrist. But if you remember from the impact drill, your hand is going to want to, or the door jam drill, if you remember, the impact drill, when you go to push into the golf ball, your hand is gonna feel very strong in that bowed position. So it'll feel weak here, but it'll feel strong and transfer more energy when you're at impact. So we're gonna go to this waist tight position, bow that left wrist down. There's a good sound. So you'll see in this finish position of the left wrist, if I were to take my right wrist and do it same thing, they would pretty much fit in place. And that's the best way to train these wrist movements is after you do, let's say we did a right one, and that wasn't very good, but let's see why. So if I put my left wrist where it would be, you can see that my left elbow is a little bent compared to if I was doing that full follow-through position. So that means that the club started working up instead of out too soon, which is why I hit the ball a little heavy. So you can do the same thing if we use the left wrist. If I hit a good shot, which that was, and then I put my right wrist where it would be, this will help me train that feeling of those elbows really extending into the follow-through. The hand should basically take the club through the same path, regardless of which hand is swinging. So what I often see in clinics is the right wrist will kind of do a little scoopy thingy like this and try to hit it high, but then I'll ask you to put your left wrist where it would be, and you can see that if I finished a real golf swing like this, I would be in a lot of trouble. The same thing will happen when you're working on the left wrist, because what will happen is you'll hit this left wrist and it'll go flying like this, and I'll say, okay, that was a good shot, but put your right hand where it would be. And they'll have to almost take a step in order to get there. So the key for the wrist and the release training is to make sure that each hand is taking the club through the same 3D space and through the same path. If you're able to do the same with both hands, then you'll have a much more consistent and solid strike when you put both hands on and go back to the 9-to-3 drill to work through these movements. So this is one of my favorite ways to train the release. I've had lots of success with it, and I hope you will too if you give it a little bit of time.